Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Today I am doing just what seems to be natural for me these days, and I'm going to make 3 cards when my intention was just to make one. And they're all going to be rainbow. So you can see I have this rainbow selection of Distress Oxides as well as this rainbow selection of the beautiful, this calls for Confetti. You guys know I'm obsessed. So I did some simple ink blending, didn't even show that, just down and dirty ink blending. And I'm using the brand new, what is this called? Stained glass background die from Pink Fresh Studio. Now I have to admit, I don't feel compelled to buy all the new things. I did for a while, but I don't anymore. But this one was just so stunning. I saw Laura Fedora use it, and oh my gosh, I had to have it. So I also have the stencil, which I've not used yet. But I did my ink blending. Excuse me, and then I die cut that panel, as you can see, and I left in this struggle because the struggle is real, right? We all are doing real life crafting, but sometimes it can feel like when you see someone's video that everything goes smoothly, it's nice and clean, the process was simple, and there were no errors to overcome. Well, that's just not true. It's not real life. So even as I'm doing this part, I'm making errors and I have to figure it out and go back, do some problem solving. But I figure it out. So let me back up while you just watch this process and watch the whole rainbow theme come together. I die cut 5 panels from this stained glass background die. One, of course, was on the ink blended panel, and then I did 4 in white. And we'll see what I use those for in just a little bit. So I put just a little dab of glue on the back of each die cut piece, and then you saw me poking those pieces out with my pokey tool onto the card panel. Now, a lot of times when we do die cut background panels like this, all those little bits go to waste. And of course, this process isn't for everybody, and it's not something that I'll do every time, but it's not as easy. It's not as difficult as it might seem. It is a little time consuming, especially if the pieces are small, like these teeny tiny triangles. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. It was worth it to me. And I loved watching this come together. But when I put the glue and then I poked out each of the pieces, I did have some struggle. You saw me. The die cut didn't cut all the way, but it was because of the way that I cut it out. It had nothing to do with the die. But again, the struggle was real, and you know, we have issues. So I popped out all the die cut pieces from these 2, and I'm keeping them. I don't know if I put on screen that I put them in a bowl or not, but I'm keeping them. And you can see that I'm gluing 2 of them together, and then I have the other 2 that I'm actually cutting the inside out, and I'm only using the frame. Sorry, I needed a sip of water. And so here I will have essentially 4 frames stacked up together, and this is going to make my shaker pouch. You can see that it's a full panel, it will be a full panel shaker pouch. And in terms of things being real, I can tell you that gluing these flimsy little frames was not an easy process. It wasn't easy, but again, you know, we persevere and we work it out. So here I am trying to clean all the smudged glue off of the acetate, and it wasn't easy. So I just have a piece of acetate from my stash. I cut it down to A2 size, and I adhered it to the die cut or the ink blended panel, and that will be my top. And here what I'm doing is taking some of that excess glue and just dabbing it on my towel. That way there'll be less smudging, so that I don't have to clean it off the acetate again. But we got it done. And now the 2 panels that had the frames, or all the what am I trying to say? All the stained glass pieces, those will create the shaker wells, and then the frame allows, or the 2 layers that were just the frame, allows for it to shake about. So these confettis, the ones that I used, were the Glazed Cherry. What is this one? Glazed Peach, Glazed Lemon, Glazed Lime, Glazed Blueberry, and Glazed Grape. And I have all of the glazed collection now. I think there are several more. I actually just placed another order, but you're going to want to check out the Cotton Candy collection. There's Bring on the Bokeh, a couple of those. but they're in the Island Breeze collection, and they're absolutely stunning. You're really going to want to check them out. And she also has some princess pearls, absolutely stunning. Sorry, I have something stuck in my throat, but I don't want to stop. So I adhered that panel down to the card base and just made sure that all the edges were down securely. You especially want to get those edges down. Anytime you're adhering a panel to your card base, you want to make sure that those edges are down. But it all went down and it shook perfectly, and I was really happy with it. And of course, I use the word perfect loosely. So here, as you can see, I have the inside bits to the frames. So I cut out all of the stained glass pieces from that one panel, and I just adhered them together and then put them down over all of the rainbow die cut pieces. And then I am using the small Bauble bubble pouch. It's a shaker pouch. It's from this calls for Confetti as well. She has several options, and I just used one of the dies from my stash. It's the Whimsy Scallop. It's actually a little too big. I underestimate or overestimated the size, and you guys know I don't measure, so that's totally on me. But I did use the scallop frame on both the front and the back of the panel, and that kind of closed that circle a little bit so that the shaker pouch would fit perfectly. And again, perfect is used loosely, but for my purposes, it's just what I needed. So again, here's a piece of scratch acetate that I'm adhering down, and the shaker pouches have adhesive on them already. So I've got everything in line. I've got everything adhered, and those shaker bits just bounce around perfectly in that bubble bauble, and I love it. And then I adhered the whole thing down to the card panel. So then I have this leftover circle, and I'm taking this adhesive eraser. Now they're kind of gummy, I hate the word, but kind of snotty, but they're so effective at getting any kind of adhesive up off of your projects. Also, a mono sand eraser is pretty priceless in the craft room. Lots of blenders, because again, it's really real. Lots of blenders that can be cleaned up with those two erasers. So if you don't already have either of those in your stash, I would encourage you to get them because they will help you. So with this round piece, I couldn't let it go to waste. And I also had, you can see the scallop circle die up at the top left. And you can see, excuse me, the stained glass window die up at the top right. Yeah, I mean, I work in about, I don't know, an 18-inch space, but that's what I do to myself. So I had the scallop that I added to the back of the circle, and the frame that I'm using was the excess frame. Well, it was the excess from the ink blended panel when I die cut the stained glass panel out. And you guys can hear my froggy voice. I do apologize, but we're going to persevere. We're going to get this done because you guys care about the process more than you care about my voice. So I created this shaker panel, and it was incredibly awkward. This I didn't keep all the blenders in just because the video would have been too long. But trust me, my process wasn't the process that you would probably want to use. But I used a large, I don't know what came in it, but one of those acetate pouches that Crafty Supplies come in, and I adhered to one side, the end that's crimped. When you buy your supplies and they come in those packages, one end is crimped and the other end has the adhesive that slides open. So the end that's crimped I adhered directly to the panel, and then the other three sides I adhered as well, but I trimmed them down so that left openings. So I used my double-sided tape. It's the 1/4 inch, and no, that's the 1/8 inch. And I just adhered everything together, making sure that all the corners came together, that there were no gaps in the seals. And then I used some double-sided foam tape to lift it up, and I put the foam tape on the back of where the circle was going to be. And you can see that everything has come together right there. I have a cute little foxy image, and that sentiment is hilarious. My stamping wasn't great on it, but it's okay. And here again, I've added a sweet little giraffe and the word hi. I will have everything listed and linked downstairs per usual, as long as I can find it. And yeah, super cute. I just wanted to finish off the cards with something fun. And there you have it. All 3 cards. essentially created from the same supplies as I've done before, but I wanted to show you the shaker in 3 ways. Once I got started and I knew I was going to make extra cards, I wanted to do them all in a very different way. So no extra supplies needed for the last one at all, because that was just recycling, and the first one was a sheet of acetate, the second one was the Bauble, and she has multiple over at This Calls for Confetti. So that's it. Whew, 3 shaker cards, rainbow shaker cards, different ways. You guys tell me what you think. I appreciate you so much for all the likes, the subscribes, the comments downstairs. I love to talk to you guys down there. I love to hear your process and your thoughts. So drop me a line downstairs, and until next time, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah, and I'm out.